Hello, friends. There have been some important developments in the keys to the White House. My prediction system that's been right since 1984. Remember, the keys are based upon the finding that American presidential elections are essentially votes up or down on the strength and performance of the White House party. And that's what the keys gauge. And if six or more of the keys go against the White House party, they are predicted losers. And right now, the White House party, represented by Kamala Harris, has definitively lost three keys. The mandate key, based on losses in U.S. House elections, the incumbency key, because while Harris is the vice president, she's not the sitting president, so it's an open seat election, and the incumbent charisma key, because she's not a once-in-a-generation, inspirational, transformational president like Franklin Roosevelt. That means three more keys would have to fall to predict the Democrats' defeat. And there have been some recent developments in the assessment of the keys, both positive and negative. Positively, the third party key seems to be close, but not definitively, to be secured by the Democrats. Remember, to turn the third party key against the White House party, a third party or independent candidate has to be anticipated to get at least 5% of the popular vote. Obviously, we can't know that before an election. So it's the one time I have to use polls, but I don't take polls at face value. Rather, we have the Lichtman wasted vote syndrome. I love you, RFK Jr., but I know you can't win. So when I vote, I'm not going to vote for you, no matter what I might have told a pollster. So I take the poll standings and cut them in half. That means RFK Jr. has to be stabilized at about 10%. That seems not impossible right now, but extremely unlikely. He's actually sinking towards the low, at best, middle single digits. It's very hard to imagine anything that would turn around his fortunes and push him up substantially into the 10% or more range. It can happen. I haven't made a final call, but certainly the third party key is leaning heavily against the White House party. On the other hand, we've had a very unexpected development with the economy. Remember, I have two economic keys. The short-term economic key, which says that there is no recession in the election year. It's phrased as no recession because an answer of true always favors the re-election of the White House party. An answer of false favors their defeat. Then we have the long-term economic key, which assesses whether real per capita growth during the term is greater than or at least equal to real per capita growth on average in the previous two terms. The long-term economic key is essentially locked in. The difference between real economic growth under Biden and the previous two terms is very large. But there have been recent developments that at least might call into question the short-term economic key, which I had previously thought was solidly for the White House party, that there was essentially close to zero chance that the economy would suddenly fall into recession in this election year. But there have been a couple of developments that might at least raise the question about the short-term economic key. First of all, we had a very weak jobs report. Weak in the sense that not that jobs weren't created, about 114,000 jobs are created. Not a terrible thing, but in the phony world of economics, everything is measured against expectations. And the problem was that the job numbers had fallen well below economists' expectations. And then on top of that, We had worldwide fears of economic weakness in the United States, which tanked stock markets abroad, and at least for a couple of 3 days, tanked the stock markets in the United States, and some recession indicators were flashing red. Let me make 2 points crystal clear. One, we are not in a recession. Indicators and warnings of a recession are not a recession. So at this point, the short-term economy key has not turned against the White House party. Secondly, there is absolutely no assurance that despite some of these problems with the economy, that at any time soon, the economy is going to fall into a recession. We had some similar developments in 2022, 2023, which led many economists to believe that the economy would fall into recession sometime in late 2023 or early 2024. You haven't heard about that recession for a good reason. It never occurred. And there is absolutely no assurance that despite some warning signals in the economy, that the economy is going to fall into recession anytime soon. The Goldman Sachs forecasters, who have a lot at stake in this, they rate the chances of a recession this year at 25%, which, if you believe that, it means the short-term economic key, still leans heavily in favor of the White House party, although obviously it's now a little shaky, more shaky than it was a week or two ago. We'll continue to monitor that key, but I would still maintain it's very unlikely to have a recession occur quickly and turn that key against the White House party. But it is something new to consider. As the great comedian, the late Rosanna Dano once said, there's always something. Stay tuned.